Apologies for that technical glitch. Can you hear me? All right. Thank you once again for joining us. My name is Caroline Soma, and I will be the moderator of today. I can see it's 10:22. I think we can just go ahead and start our training. So let us pray. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we humbly come before you this morning. We thank you for the training ahead of us. We pray that may you help us fulfill our targets and obligations as Kenyan citizen. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you, guys. Our trainer of today is none other than Cynthia Kerobo. She's going to take us through how to file your tax returns of the year 2023. That is 1st January 2023 to 31st December 2023. It's a very easy step. Remember also we are live on KRA TV. When you just go to YouTube and you search for KRA TV, and under the tab videos, you will get to see the videos that we have uploaded, tutorials that is on how to file your returns. We are also live on KRA TV. In case this training is over, you can just go back to to the tabs under live and get to see what we are learning today. Cynthia? Cynthia, can you hear me?
Carol, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Cynthia, but you are breaking.
I'm also feeling some bit of echo from your end. I don't know if it's clear to our participants.
I think you are clear now. You are very clear from my end.
Okay. Am I clear now?
Yes, you are.
All right. So thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to train today on filing of our individual returns. Indeed, it is timely. We say from our end that mapema ndio best. So we need to file our returns as early as January. We are not very mapema, but still we are not very late. So as I've been introduced, my name is Cynthia, and I'll be taking you through filing of our individual returns this morning. So welcome to all our participants and even. All right, so as I begin, maybe we can ask ourselves, uh, as individuals, when are we supposed to file our returns? And when we have payments to make, when are we supposed to make them? So as we know, our returns, we should be filing them on or before the 30th of June. So that means we have from 1st of January of the following year, after the end of our calendar year. So we have from 1st of January to 30th of June, that is 6 months for us to file our individual returns. So whether you are in employment, whether you are a student, whether you are in business, whatever your source of income is, then we are mandated to file our returns every year before the 30th of June. So for purposes of this training, we are going to learn how to do our returns when we have employment income only, and also when we are in employment and might be having other sources of income. So I'll be taking you through filing through the ITR for employment income only, and also filing when you have other sources of income, when you have employment and other sources of income. So that means when you have things like withholding tax and such kind of things. So without much further ado, allow me to share my screen so that we can start the training.
On a string.
Yes, Carol, are you able to see my screen?
No, we can't. We can't see your screen.
You can see or you can't see?
Try again. Apologies about the echo, our dear participants. As we wait for Cynthia to share her screen, before we got a technical hitch, I was saying something about tax amnesty. And remember, tax amnesty is a program where KRA is forgiving people who have penalties on nil filing. Remember, if you are taxpayer who has principal tax, then this is not for you. But it is advisable that you start paying the penalties that you had accrued, especially if you had principal tax. But if you are a nil filer and had penalties for not filing, remember, if, for example, you had not paid if you had not filed your return since 2015, that was a penalty of 2,000 every year. That is 2015 all the way to 2023. Now you calculate how many years those are, and you multiply by 2,000. That's quite a bit of money, right? And I bet you wouldn't want to, channel all that amount to KRA. Then what you need to do for you to be forgiven, you just need to go back and file your returns. Filing your returns is not hard. Just get to know your KRA PIN and your iTax password, and get to file your returns. It is as simple as that. So remember to again go mapema and your best, as Cynthia had said, and it is very easy and it takes really a little bit of time if only you follow the tutorials as per how they have directed you to do. Also, something else is about ATMs, as I was saying. If you are a business person, you don't have to have, you don't have to be a VAT obligator. You are a VAT taxpayer. Whatever kind of business that you have, you need to register with ATMs. There is the e-citizen one, and there's the online portal and the online software. So get to know where you fall and enroll before 30th March 2024. That is the deadline. And of course, um, if you don't enroll with ETIMS by 30th March 2024, then there is a penalty for that. So let us avoid penalties and get to do what is right. Thank you once again. Let me see if there are questions so that you can get to respond. So someone is asking if they can get this recording. As I had said earlier, we are live on KRA TV. So after this training is over, the training will remain on that platform. So what you just need to do is go to YouTube, KRA TV, and go under the tab live videos and tap on it. And the first video that you will see is this: how to file your 2023 tax return. It is as simple as that. You open and go through the training. Remember, if you have any questions, both here and KRA TV, as of course we are live, just feel free to write down your questions so that you can get to respond. We have a very good team behind this training that is ready to respond to all your questions that you have. Cynthia? Cynthia? Commissioning.
Carol,
Oh, that's Cynthia's screen.
are you able to see my
Cynthia,
screen
we can
now?
see your screen.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So allow me to proceed, please. Is that okay?
Cynthia, we can't hear you.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Can I proceed, please? Carol, can I proceed? What is that? Carol, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Cynthia.
I don't know what that was. I think a lot of echo, but allow me to proceed if you can hear me. Sorry about that. So, like I was mentioning, we would like to file our returns through the ITR option for implement income only. And for you to do that, you need to access the screen. And how to get to this screen? On your browser, on your preferred browser, you type itax.kra.go.ke, and then you will land on this homepage. So on this homepage, you're required to key in your PIN and your password. So in this case, I'll use my PIN. Okay, then click on continue. So you are required to key in your password, and my password, I will remember my password, so I will key in my password. If you don't remember your password, you can click on forgot password down here and be able to reset your password. It will be sent to the email you registered on iTax. Okay. All right, fill in the security stamp, which is an arithmetic you resolve. 78 minus 5 should give you 73. So once you do that, you will get into your iTax portal, and then here you are required now to file your return. So if you are in employment and you're saying your only source of income is employment, you don't have any other sources of income, so what you do, you go to returns. Under the returns menu, we have various options. We have file return, we have view file return, we have file nil return for those who are not in employment. Say you are a student or you didn't have any income for the year 2023 in this case, then you are required to come and file a nil return. You don't leave it, you don't assume that you cannot file because you didn't have a source of income. So if you didn't have any source of income, then your option is filing a nil return, which is under the returns menu, then you select file nil return. So in our case, if you are in employment and employment is your only source of income, you select ITR for employment income only. So if you select that option, ITR for employment income only, you'll be able to see pre-populated details of your employment income. That is for the previous year. Okay, so our return period in this case is from 1st of January 2023 to the last day of January, which is 31st December 2023. Then there's a question, do you have employment income? You say yes, and you move on to the next page. Now, on the next page, now here you're going to see the details of your employment income for the previous year. So even if you had multiple employers for the previous year, you'll be able to see all of the details pre-populated on your ITR for employment income only. So on this section A, where it's your basic information, we are required to fill in details of, say you have a mortgage, if you have a life insurance, if you have income from a foreign country. So has your employer provided you with a car? So you fill appropriately. So in my case, I'll just say what applies to me, which is no. I don't have income from foreign income, so I'll just select no. I don't have mortgage. So for life insurance policy, remember, we are keying in details of insurance policy details. So in this case, we have those of us contributing to NHIF. It still qualifies as an insurance policy. So in my case, I can say yes. And you can see there's a section L, which opens up for me to pre-populate the details of the insurance that I subscribe to. So let me finish. We can finish on section A. All right. So on bank details, you can see the section is grayed out. It will only open up when we have a refund. So when you compute your taxes, and at the end of the computation, you find out that you have a refund, then this section of bank details will open up so that you can be able to fill in your bank details where your money will be disbursed to. So that's all about section A. Then you go to section F. Remember, it's very simple. Details are already pre-populated. So you're just matching what is on the system with what you have on your P9. So a P9 is also important. And at this point, let me mention that P9s are not issued by KRA. You're supposed to obtain your P9 from your respective employer. And if you had 2 or 3 employers in the year, then each employer should be able to provide you with a P9. And this P9, even if you worked for a month, they should be able to provide you with that P9. So we don't issue P9s at KRA. I've seen quite a couple of times emails being sent or people calling requesting for their P9s when it's about this filing season. So the P9, you obtain it from your employer. All right. So for me, I can check from my P9 with the pin that I'm using. The details are matching with what is on the system. So there's nothing really to fill. So you move on to the next page. So on the next page, we have section L. We'll come back to fill in the details of the insurance. So you can move on to section M. Again, you can see the details are already pre-populated. So you just check and confirm, all right, whether the details that you have on the system are matching with those that you have on your P9. So amount of pay deducted. So you check on your P9, does the amount of pay deducted is it the same as the one you have on your P9? So it's just confirming and moving to the next page. So next page, if you had any taxes that you had paid in advance, say installment tax, or you had maybe a motor vehicle and you paid some advance tax. So this is the details where you fill in those credit details so that they can be able to align with your year of income. So on section T now, you come here. So for this year, we are filling the details twice on defined pension. So these are section 1.1 and then 1.1a. So if you check your P9, there's a section written E2. So under E2, that column indicated E2, then you check the amounts from the period January to June 2023, and also your entire pension contribution. So in this case, I will use, and I have to fill in the details. So a minute, let me get my details correct. All right, so that is my defined pension contribution. And then for the periods January to June, so you check your P9 from January to June, the 6 months, what is the total that you have paid as a pension contribution? Okay, so you take that amount and fill in. All right, so check appropriately. And then those are the details you fill on this section, including but not limited to serial number 2.5. If you can see, we have personal relief. So for last year, our personal relief was 28,800. Okay, so you key in 28,800 as your personal relief. So remember, I mentioned that when you file and then you compute at the end of your return, you find out that you have a refund, then you're supposed to go back to section A and fill in the refund details. You can see now that the bank details have opened up where I'm supposed to get my refund back. Okay, so this refund might arise from a number of issues. So one could be that maybe the computation that you have on the system and the one that you have on the P9 are not matching. So it could be that there could be a bit of errors. So you need to find out really whether the details on the system and what you have on your P9 are matching. Okay, that could be one of the reasons. Again, when you contribute to these insurance policies, remember there is a 15% relief that you get as a result of you contributing towards an insurance, either for life, education, or health. So when you have these insurance policies, that 15% of the premium paid for the entire year that relief comes in as a refund to you on your end. So you might be able to get a refund out of that. It could also be that you have mortgage. So when you're contributing, when you have a mortgage, remember there is a there's relief on the interest. Okay, so that relief, when you compute your returns, it comes out as a refund at the end of your return. So such cases happen, and when it happens, like in this case, there's a refund, then you need to come and populate the details of where your refund will be sent to. Before that, we can check our section L, remember, for insurance, NHIF. When you're contributing to NHIF, then you need to get the details of NHIF and be able to put in on section L. All right, so in this case, let me use the NHIF amounts that I've contributed. So that is the PIN of NHIF. Okay, so the name will automatically pop up. So the type of policy would be health or NHIF in this case. Okay. Then membership number, you can check from your NHIF card what your membership number is. Okay. And then, of course, it's for self. And then you have the annual annual premiums. So on the annual premiums paid, also you check what you have contributed for the entire year. So assuming my contribution is 1700, for example. So if I calculate 1700 12, that gives me 20,400. Okay. So you can see there is an amount of insurance relief that I get. And this is what you're talking about, that some of it, when you have these insurance policies, and remember we mentioned for health, um, life, or education. Okay. So we're not talking about car insurances or any other kind of insurance policies. So when you have the three and they have a maturity period of about 10 years, then you can always get that relief, which comes to you as a refund. So you see there's a pop-up. I need to fill in my bank details for me to get my refund. So, okay. So let me select equity. They're experiencing a small lag. Okay. It could be a technical internet or network hitch, but basically you fill in your bank details, and this is where your amount will be disbursed to at the end of processing. Once your refund has been checked and you really are entitled to a refund, then to get your refund back to the bank details that you have been indicated when you're filing your return. So basically that is it about filing your ITR for employment income only. Actually, I don't know if you have a question. Carol? Carol, do you have a question up to there?
Cynthia, there is no question from my end. Oh, there's one, sorry. Someone is asking, anonymous attendee is asking, can anyone with NHIF apply for insurance relief? And what happens if the contribution changed due to an increase in salary? Can anyone with NHIF apply for insurance relief? And what happens if the contribution changed due to an increase in salary?
All right. Thank you for that question. Yes, when you're contributing towards NHIF, yes, you will claim your insurance relief. Remember, even the details that are filled here are for the NHIF that I contribute for the entire year. So even if the amounts change within the course of the year, then what you need to get is the sum. The total is what you get because you're getting a relief of 15% on the amount of insurance on the annual premiums paid. So regardless of the amounts that have been contributed within the year, whether there's a salary increase or decrease, what you have is the total. So what you get is the 15% of the amount that you've contributed as premiums for the entire year. So yes, you can claim your NHIF relief. So thank you for that. Allow me now to move to the next section where now we are required to file our returns using the Excel option. So, and in this case, we want also to talk about those who might be having additional sources of income other than employment. So let's see how we go about it. Our initial steps still remain. You log into iTax with your PIN and password, go to the returns tab. Sorry? Okay. So under the returns, we pick file returns, right? Remember last time we picked ITR for employment income only. This one, we are doing file return option because now we want to file using the Excel. Maybe because your P9 is not matching with what is on the system. Okay, so now you want to use the Excel option. How do we go about it? Under the returns menu, select file return. Okay, and then select the tax obligation as income tax resident individual. Then you move on to the next page. All right, on the next page, there's a number of steps. And step number 5 is click here to download income tax resident individual form in Excel. All right, so I will click on that and then I'll download my return. For best results, after you have downloaded your return, you are required to log off from iTax to avoid let me log off to avoid corrupting the file. Remember, sometimes when you file a return, there are various errors that pop up. It could be an error 1004. It could be an error with some funny numbers. So when that happens, it means that file is corrupt. You need to log off from iTax when you are filling the return so that to avoid those instances where the file might be corrupted. Okay, so I've logged off from iTax. I want now to share my screen, Excel. All right. So this is how the Excel looks like. I hope you can see my screen, Carol. Is my screen visible? Carol, can you see my screen?
There is a bit of delay. We cannot yet see the. Oh, yeah, it's here. Yes.
Is my screen visible?
Yes,
All
it
right.
is visible.
All right. Thank you. So allow me to now take you through how to file using the Excel option. Okay. I wish I could split my screen, but
Yes, Cynthia, I can see your screen.
there's a bit of delay. I'm saying I wish I could split my screen so that I have my return on one side and then I have the Excel on the other side. But I know that's next to impossible for now. So I'll just take you through with the P9 that you have. the P9 you obtained from employer or from the portal, wherever you download it from. So on the Excel, it's basically the same thing we had on ITR, but now the sheets are on separate. The sheets are separate, so you can see we have basic information, same as what we had on ITR for employment income only. We have employment income details. We have details of pay deducted at source. So the details are pretty much the same, only that they are not pre-populated. So there's nothing really to compare with what you have on your P9. So here you fill from scratch, and you're going to fill from scratch. So allow me to start with the PIN. Okay. Okay. Suppose that is the PIN. So the type of return, in this case, it will be an original return when you're filing for the first time. But in case you had filed, even if you had filed using the ITR option and then you realize there was a mistake and you need to file an amended return, you can always come back and do a second return. But amendment you can only do once. Amendments are only done once, so you have to be careful about that. So the type of return is original, and the return period we are doing for last year. So we'll pick the date as 1st of January 2023 to the 31st of December. Sorry. Another thing, remember, we are using Excel version 18.0.9. There are some of us who store Excels or returns from previous years. Okay, those are outdated. You don't choose a return from a previous year to file for a current year. So every time you're filing a return, remember to download a fresh return. Our return version is 18.0.9 for this year. So remember, you make sure you have that. Don't fill a return for previous years because it will not compute. Our end date 2023. And then here, the questions still apply like what you had previously. So you fill appropriately, okay? Whether you have mortgage, insurance, and all this, whether you have income from a foreign country. Remember, these are the questions we had gone through when you are doing the ITR option. Okay, so for me, I'll just leave the page blank and only say that I have insurance policy. Okay, so if I say yes, the same section that opened up on ITR will open up here. We have the details of computation of insurance relief, right? Okay, so let's start filling in from the first page. So here, I'd like you to have a look at your P9. Okay, they're pretty much the same. So from your P9, you need to get the PIN of your employer. Okay. Okay. So get the correct PIN from your P9, fill in the name of your employer. Okay. And then your gross pay. If you check your P9, we have different columns from column A all the way to the last column where your pay is deducted. Okay. So column A, we have basic salary. Column B, we have all these other columns. So allow me to use the P9 that I have. So column A, that is the basic. Column B, C, those are benefits that you have accrued in the year. So what you are checking is the gross, which is on column D. Okay, I've seen the confusion where people pick the basic, they forget there's a column D. You could be having benefits in between. There's column B and C. So pick up the column D, what is indicated there as your total. So in my case, I have hmm, okay. All right. It's not very clear on my P9, but I hope that is the correct amount. And then allowances and benefits from employment other than current housing. You also, if you do have, you indicate the amount, but if you don't, you just put a zero. Don't leave it blank, put a zero. Okay. And then net value of housing, also a zero. Pension, if it's in excess of 300, then you need to indicate. If it's not, you just put a zero. Okay. So here is where we want to take a keen interest. For, for the year 2023, we are picking the total income from January to June and the total pension from January to June, and then again the total income from July to December, and then the total pension from July to December. Okay. So for last year, because of the Finance Act changes, there were changes that have been factored into the return. So because of those reliefs, so for that, the return has. So in my case, January, the income I have, let me just do a quick math. You can be doing yours as well. What is your January to June total income? Okay, you can add. So in my case, I have for 20,000. I hope you are doing yours as well. Okay. And then we have the pension. Now, pension in this case, we are saying to check what is indicated on column E2. So there's a fixed amount, there's the actual contribution, and then you have the legal limit. So pick what is indicated as your actual contribution on E2, and then you do your total for the 6 months, that is January to June. So mine has totaled up to that. So again, you can pick your calculator, do your total incomes from July to December. What is your total income from July to December? So mine is totaling up to 450. Okay. So again, do your pension, that is on column E2, your July to December, and then fill in the details. All right. So that is the difference with filling in this year's, last year's return, that is, for the year 2023. There's this section where you need to factor in January to June income, then January to June pension. They are separated because of the Finance Act 2023, Finance Act 2023 changes that brought in some those changes that have been factored into our return. Okay. Then we have insurance. So we are on competition of our insurance relief. So remember here again, there was a question about whether NHIF qualifies, and you said yes. So allow me to key in the details of the NHIF contributions. Okay, so company name. Um, okay, All right. So you key in your membership number. And then it's for self. All the other sections will be grayed out. So you'll only be required to declare your annual premiums paid. Okay. Then you can see the amount of insurance relief. That is 15% of the annual premiums paid. You will get is 30, 60. That is in my case. So you can do yours appropriately. Now we move on to section M, which is details of pay deducted. On details of pay deducted, pick the PIN of the employer from the drop-down menu, the name of the employer, and then you have now the taxable salary. Now here, if you check your P9, our taxable salary is in basic terms, your gross minus your pension. The difference you get after subtracting your pension from your gross, because in this case the pension is not taxable, you will get what is your taxable salary. So normally on the P9s, the taxable salary is on column H. Okay, column H, normally indicated as chargeable pay. So your taxable salary, chargeable pay, one and the same thing. It's a subtraction of your gross and and your pension. Okay. So I'll indicate what I have on my P9. We do equipment 20. Okay. And then on the next column, column D, this is tax payable on taxable salary. Normally follow each other, just the same way the columns are following each other on the return. So after the chargeable pay on your P9, we have column J, indicated sometimes as tax charged. So the tax charge, the total is the same as the tax payable on taxable salary. If your P9 is not the same, then here you can just add what you have contributed as pay, your total pay, plus your total personal relief. Sorry, your total pay plus your total personal relief will give you your tax payable on taxable salary. But instead of going the long way, you can just check your P9, column J, normally indicated as tax charge. But remember, P9s may not be the same. I know, like for those for TAC, maybe police service, they don't have this many columns. So in your case, then you can just check what is indicated as tax charged, or you can add your pay plus your personal relief. It will total to what we call tax payable on taxable salary. So in my case, let me see, column J. Okay, and then we have the last column, the amount of pay deducted. So the amount of pay deducted is just your pay, what you've contributed as pay for the entire year. Okay, so just check. Sometimes it's even indicated down below your P9. Uh-huh. So in my case, this is what I have. So So basically that is it on this section. So there's the PIN of the employer, the name of the employer, then the taxable salary. Remember we said it's your gross minus pension. The difference is what is your taxable salary, otherwise known as chargeable pay, normally on column H on your P9. And then on the next column on your P9, you have J, that is tax charge. And tax charge is what you call tax salary. If you don't have it as so on your P9, then you can just sum up your total pay as your total personal relief. You'll be able to get your tax payable and taxable salary. Then pay is just pay, what have been deducted as pay for the entire year. Okay. And then we move on to the next computation, that is the payment credits. If you had made any payments in advance within the course of the year, then you can be able to fill the section. And if not, you don't fill anything. You skip the entire sheet and you move on to sheet T, tax computation. So on tax computation, you have defined pension contribution. This one you check on your P9. We said there are three columns. These are the first one, which is the fixed, okay, the fixed amount. Then there's the actual contribution, and then there is the legal limit. So you pick what is your actual contribution, normally on your column E2, right? So in my case, I'll pick what I have. You can do the same from your end. And then our personal relief is 28,800 for the year, okay? And then from here, we are done. So remember, like I mentioned, if you have a negative value at the end of your computation, that means that's a refund. So you're supposed to go back to your basic details. You can see the basic details and fill in the details of your bank account. Try and validate. Okay. So basically that is it about filling using the Excel. It's pretty much what you have on ITR for implementing income only that you are now filling the details one by one. You are not checking against what is already on the system. And sometimes this happens when the details are inconsistent. What you have on the system is inconsistent with your P9. So the other option remains that you can use the Excel option. Another thing that can make you use an Excel is when you have other sources of income other than employment. Let's see how you do that. So about filing using the Excel, that is it about it for implementing income only. So you validate, you'll get a pop-up, sheets are ready to be uploaded, and then do you want to generate an upload file? You just say yes, and then the file will save itself on your documents, and then you can go back and upload. Let me take you quickly through how you can fill your details when you're having another source of income other than employment. So there's a question 7 here that asks, do you have any income other than employment? So let's say you did a consultancy within the course of last year, or you offered some services, and as a result, you have a withholding certificate. And when you're trying to compute returns, you're getting an error that you cannot validate. You need to declare your withholding credits. So how do you go about it? So that certificate is normally sent to your email. So you can just check your email to be able to get that certificate. Alternatively, you can go to your iTax under the certificates menu. You select reprint withholding certificate, just in case you didn't get it in your email. So when you select reprint withholding certificate, you'll be able to see your withholding certificates or certificates for the year, and then you can come now and start declaring. So supposing this person had some withholding maybe from some training they did, they were paid some amount, or you're a teacher, you went for some marking, and part of your income was withheld, and you have a withholding certificate. How do you declare it? Now, your return, you say there's a question 7 that asks, do you have any income other than? And here you say yes. Okay. And then from there, you move now to the you can see there are additional sheets that have opened up down below. So there's a sheet B for profit and loss, there's a sheet C for balance sheet, there's a sheet D for stock analysis, and all the rest. So we are interested in filling this section, which is profit and loss account, section B. And now on section B, you can see there are various tabs. So you could get that income either from business, from farming, from rental, from interest, from commission, or from any other source. So you feel appropriately. Okay. So supposing this was maybe that training you're talking about. So for training, it could be maybe that is now other. Okay. So under other, the column for other, there's 1.2 gross turnover of profession or consultancy fee. Okay, so here, if you have more than one withholding certificate, you pick your gross. On the certificate, remember you have the gross, we have the amount of tax that was withheld, and then we have the tax rate. In this case, you're saying you pick the gross amount. If you have more than two, if you have more than one certificate, then you total up the gross amount, then you key it there. So let's assume it's okay. So that was our gross. Okay. And then here we are saying for the rest of the sections, um, it might not really apply to us. Let's say you are in that training or consultancy or it's a professional. So sometimes for this section, you might not be required to fill extra details unless and otherwise you are able to prove beyond doubt that, for example, there are some expenses maybe you incurred as a result of you conducting that training or doing that consultancy. Okay, maybe you did what? Maybe you um, traveled. Maybe, for example, the training was out of Nairobi, and therefore you had to travel and board and lodge. And for that case, there's some amount that you incurred as expenses. So here, you must have legal and you must have proven um, they're called what? Receipts to show that indeed you traveled, you went to the hotel, you boarded, and all that. So if you can prove that there's some expenses you incurred as a result of you obtaining the income, then you can come and claim them here. Okay, for example. All right. So it depends. With the maybe you bought some airtime. Okay, you're calling how the training was done online, or there's some expenses that you incurred as a maybe telephone expenses or training expenditure, or there was some things you printed to some materials for training. So if you can be able to prove that there are some expenses that you incurred as a result of you obtaining that income, then you can always come and claim as long as you have the true legal receipts for the same. Okay. So assuming those were the expenses for this person, all right. And then now, so there are many, the employment expenses. So these are normally applies for those who are in business per se. So you are required to keep your financial records. You keep your books of accounts. So you know what is your profits against your losses. And then when you come now to fill the return, you just fill in appropriately. In this instance, you're just talking about those who are maybe doing consultancy, they don't have a business per se. So we go to section C, balance sheet. Here again, remember we have um, details of fixed assets, investments, current assets. We have all these, we have liabilities and all this. For those ones who are in business, they are required to keep their records of their fixed assets against their liabilities. And this one helps you now when you're coming to do a return. Sometimes this may not be so easy on you. So you may require the services of an accountant or someone from, you can visit our KRA office. We train you on how to do your these sections of your books of accounts so that at the end of the year, you're able to do the return on your own. So in this case, because this person is not a business person per se, we'll use we are required to balance the assets against the liabilities. So you can use any figure which is greater than zero. You can put like a one on the fixed assets, and then on the liabilities part, you also fill the same figure so that your balance sheet it has to balance on the same figure. So for you to balance the sheet, that is just the workaround. But for those who are in real business, this is not how it is done. You must have your assets and your liabilities, and you must keep your books of accounts. So on the next sheets, really, here there's nothing much to fill. Stock analysis in our category that we've picked, unless you are into these things of manufacturing. So you have the wear and tear, so you need some deductions to do, unless and otherwise you are into that kind of thing. But for individuals, which is the purpose of this training, then you just skip the rest of the sheets and proceed to section F. Now where we have the employment income details. All right. So you fill the same way we had filled. Okay. The details of computation of insurance, the same thing. The details of pay deducted, same thing as we have done before. All right. And then we have this section of withholding credits. So this one is grayed out. Where you are required now to fill in the details of the withholding credits is this section. Okay. So here we have withholding tax credit. If you look at serial number 13.4, we have withholding tax credit. So if you check your withholding certificate, remember we said there are many details. There are the details of the withholder, there are the details of the withholdee, and there are details of the tax that has been deducted and remitted to KRA. So you have the gross, you have the tax rate, you have the nature of the transaction, and you also have the amount of tax that has been withheld and remitted to KRA. So in this case, that is what is your withholding credit. What is indicated as amount of tax withheld. So that is your credit because it has already been remitted to KRA. So you check your certificate. If you have more than one, you compute the total. What you have as the total, you key it in this section. So assuming my comes to around, let's say 5,000. Okay. So here is where you key in the details of your withholding credits. Okay, so let's see. On my tax due stroke refund due, now you can see there's a positive figure. Remember, withholding tax for resident, it's not final. What do I mean by it's not final? It means that a certain percentage of your income has been withheld and remitted to KRA. And when you are filing now your return, there's some amount that you'll be required to pay. That's what we mean by it's not final. It's not a final tax. So in our case, you can see this person is required to pay KRA 2,860, and this is from the computations that we have done from the amount of withholding um, on the training that this person did. Okay. So here you'll still validate your return. So click on validate your return, and then now you'll go to upload. Once you have uploaded your return, then you will be required to generate a payment slip and make a payment for this amount. Let me go back to my iTax. We log in and see the process of uploading. Okay, so here we have the returns option. So you'll go the same way. Okay, file return. Your obligation, income tax resident individual. Then you move to the next page. So here we are not downloading, now we are uploading. Okay, so choose file. Okay, so remember when you say sheets are ready to be uploaded, you want to generate an upload file. When you say yes, this return will automatically zip itself and it will be saved in your documents. So here you will come to choose file, then you go to your documents. Okay, so in your documents you will have the returns. Okay, then you open. So you upload, then agree to the terms and conditions. Okay, and then now you can submit your return to upload it. So once you submit, you'll get a pop-up that your returns have been submitted successfully, and an acknowledgement receipt will also be raised to your email. So that is just about it, how you declare your withholding certificate details in your Excel return. We've also looked at how to file using the ITR option. And I think tomorrow we'll also proceed with this same training in case you missed a step, or you might be having a challenge, or you went to file and experienced a challenge. So tomorrow we are doing another training on the same, and you are all invited. So that is it from my end. Carol? Carol?
Yes, Cynthia. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. Thank you for that training. Thank you for taking us through how to file your 2023 tax return using the ITR. Uh, Cynthia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cynthia. As I was saying, thank you for taking us through and showing us how to file our returns using the ITR option and the Excel option. We have a few questions. Yes, Cynthia. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. We have a few questions on KRA TV. Abdullah is asking if you're employed and paying pay and have a side hustle, are you allowed to activate TOT for the side hustle? If you're employed and paying pay and have a side hustle, are you allowed to activate TOT for the side hustle? I think this is not a filing question, but maybe we can just respond to him.
All right. Thank you for that. All right. Remember, TOT or turnover tax is applicable to persons or businesses that are making between a million, more than a million, and less than 50 million. So if your business is within that range, then yes. But if it's not, then you can go this other way, where now on your individual PIN, you include, or you amend to include that you have a business income, and then now you can compute the way we have done for once a year. Okay. So remember, TOT is done monthly. It's a tax that is payable every month. So if you are within those thresholds, then you can subscribe, or you can add the obligation. But if you're not making those turnovers, then you are required now to just keep your records of your books of records well, When you're filing your employment income, then you include now your business details. You'll do the same way we've done for the way we've done for it. So you'll just say you have another income other than employment, and then now you'll do your profit and loss and balance sheets and all that. And then at the end of it, you'll find out that you have some taxes to pay. Carol, can you hear me?
Thank you, Cynthia, for that response. KCM Secretariat have raised their hands as well as Franklin Otieno. Maybe I can just allow, first of all, KCM Secretariat to talk. Yes, I can hear you, Cynthia. I can hear you. I am saying I am allowing KCM Secretariat. Cynthia, for that response. KCM Secretariat have KCM Secretariat, kindly ask your question. Your mic is on. You can start by telling us your name and where you are listening or watching this training from. Thank you, KCM Secretariat. You can start.
Okay, thank you, the moderator. My name is Kevin Ogola from the KCM Secretariat. We are a branch under the National Treasury and housed at the Ministry of Health. Now, my question is when we were doing the first, when the presenter was doing the first presentation on the ITR, I realized, because I was also working on mine, on my end, I realized that there was the relief part. I think it was when he was working on the NHIF. I don't know if he can go there because I can see he's sharing the same on the screen.
Seems I'm experiencing some network challenges, or iTax is down. Let me try again.
Okay, just try again.
You mean here?
Okay, section L. I notice on my end, the section L is not active. So I was wondering, what is the process to have it activated on my end when we'll be doing our returns? My other question was, when you were in section Q and you were explaining about the pension, I think it was the last section, I think section T, sorry, not Q, T. Is this are we also talking about the NSSF, or is only this other, the private pension contribution, or also the NSSF?
Okay, thank you for your questions. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
For this section L, maybe you can try logging in with a different browser, because really
Actually, on my end, I only have section A, section F, M, Q, and T.
you don't have a section L.
I don't have a section L.
So back on basic information, you see this question, do you have life insurance policy? You have to select yes. So when you select yes, if you say no, you see the section disappears. But if you say yes, then that section L will pop.
Actually, it has popped up. Thank you for that. Now, the other question.
And it's editable.
Yeah.
Okay. So your other question was on Section T.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. So here you're saying you
Is
have
it?
two contributions towards pension.
Yes. So are
Because
we only?
here you are
Yeah.
required to key in. Sorry.
No, just go ahead. It's fine.
So your pension contribution is what you actually contribute as an individual, whether to one pension scheme or to several.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll find most of the time, or when your employer is factoring in your actual contribution, they'll tend to like cumulatively sum up all your pension contributions if you have more than one. So that's why you have your actual contribution in one column on your P9. But if not, then you can just sum up from the two or the three or the number you have, and then you key in there your total. So it should be what you actually contribute, whether it's to one or to several.
Okay. So if a person is only dealing with we're only doing the deduction for NSSF, that is what they need to put there,
Yes, your actual contribution.
the actual contribution.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
My other final question is I think when we were doing the last returns, I think that is for the financial year, the year I think 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was an issue with the gratuity. How do you handle that?
Where exactly was the issue? What was the issue?
Because I noticed that the gratuity was covering, you see, like in the government financial period, it runs from July to June,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
then I noticed we are having a situation where a gratuity is paid at the
Mm-hmm.
end of that financial year, which is June. Yeah. So it
Mm-hmm.
is the next year. You get it? Do I have to capture only the half of it or do I capture the full amount? I don't know if you're
Okay.
getting.
I don't think I've gotten that quite clearly.
Mhm.
But what we can do, we
Yeah.
can you can share with us your contact privately, and then we
Yes.
can be able to get in touch and see how to resolve that past issue.
Okay. Can I use the same email that you guys used?
You can use the same email.
Mm.
You can even do a private, what is it called? The private chat to host only. I don't know how it's called. You can do to the email or even on the chat box, you chat us privately
Okay, I
so
think
that
I'll just.
we avoid bringing a bit of a confusion. We just focus on filing today. Then
Yeah,
for you, we can handle your case as a separate incident at the end of the training. Is that okay?
that's fine. Thank you.
Sawa sawa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those questions. We have another one on the line, Franklin Otieno. I have allowed you to speak and I have unmuted you. So when you are ready, just ask your question. Franklin, Franklin, okay, I think Franklin is not on the line, but thank you once again so much for accepting our invite and joining this training so that you can get to know how to file your 2023 tax return. Kindly subscribe to KRA TV There's so much information that you can get to that platform and get to know and understand tax matters, whichever tax obligation you fall into. We have trainings that have been uploaded under the live session. We have videos, tutorials, how to videos, explainers, why videos, whatever it is, name it. And also, you can give us suggestions on what more videos we can do so that you can get to be tax compliant. Thank you once again for your time. Thank you, Cynthia, for your time and your training, for taking us through how to file our tax return using ITR method and the Excel method. Thank you so much, our participants. We are grateful that you are able to join. Hopefully, you will be able to file your returns as early as possible. Remember, mapema ndio best. Avoid long lines. You can actually do it on your own. I bet you have seen that it is as easy as ABC. Thank you once again, even for those who are watching live on KRA TV. We don't take it for granted that you actually took your time and actually joined the training. Also, we cannot forget our sign language interpreter, Elizabeth Ndirango. Thank you once again for your time. This is absolute inclusivity. We need everyone in Kenya to be tax compliant. Thank you once again for your time. Till next time, see you then.